And welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll show you how to make this cute little shaker card using the new stamp sets from Simon Hurley. Let's take it away. All right, so today I thought I'd show you how I made this sort of little old looking candy shaker house with Simon Hurley's new stamps. I've got the magic stripes. I've got these old trees that aren't that old. And then I've got this set. These are the penguins, and then these are the Christmas silhouettes. And I'm going to be using all of them. I'm going to use the sentiment from one and then the presents from another. And I use this little house shaped die, but you could use any die set that you have, or you can even just cut it out, draw it out and cut it out. But for today, we'll be using this little house. And I've got my little blender tool, and I'm going to be using this cream color paper. I'm kind of loving the cream colored paper right now. So yeah, I'll get over it someday. I'm going to go ahead and cut this paper down to 4.5 by 5.25, no, 4.25 by 5.5, because I'll be using it to stamp. I'm going to grab my Misty tool here, and I'm going to grab the magic stripes, and there's one big piece, and I'm only going to be using the big piece today. These are all little individuals, which are really super cool. I can see stuff going on for days with those stamps, but for now we're just going to use this one, and I'm going to lay my cardstock in here, and I want to just stamp across a part of it because I'll be cutting my little house out of that. And I'm going to go ahead and use Simon Hurley's Bee Sting to stamp this down. I want to get a good amount of ink, and I may take a couple of stamps. I need to re-ink my stamps one of these days. I definitely have the re-inkers. So instead, I'm just going to add more ink, press a little bit harder so I get a nice solid print. And then use my little pressure tool to press it down. All right, I'm happy with that. Let me set that aside. I'm going to do another one. This one I'm doing in landscape mode. The first one I did is for my background. The second one I'm doing is for the back of my little house. Sorry about that. Got myself a little confused there. So that's why it doesn't matter to me if it's straight on there or not, because I will be just cutting out a portion of it. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp twice like I did before. Put a little pressure on it with my pressure tool. Make sure it stamps down all the way. And I'm happy with that. So let me just go ahead and pull that up. And then I'll take the little foundation piece for the house die and I'll cut that out. And I'm just going to kind of lay the piece where I want it. And then I'll use a little bit of mint tape to hold it down. Just to make sure it doesn't move on me on my way over to my cutter. Okay, now that I have that part cut out, here I've cut out about 6 of the little outline part of the house, and I glued them together off camera, and now I'm going to go ahead and cut out the piece of acetate that fits, and I'm going to go ahead and assemble this. So here I've got a little tree that I made before, and I'm just taking that out so I can find it later. And I like to do these with tape. So I'm going to go ahead and cut one more layer, and that's going to go between the thick pieces and the acetate. But on the one layer, I want to grunge it up a little, and this is real light grunge. So I'm just using the cookie dough to just kind of go around the edges of it. Sometimes stuff's hard to pick up off of here. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same with the little house, because I want these to kind of look like cookies. You know how sugar cookies kind of brown a little bit on the outside edges? And I'm not going to do anything with my thick piece. Again, that's about 6 of these layers glued together. And what I have here is my scrapbook.com tape. And this is an 1/8 inch tape. Great little tape for this type of thing. And I'm just going to go all the way around. Okay, I want to make sure that's good and burnished down. Then I'll start to lift it. And this is going to ensure that I don't have any leaks. at least from the outside edge, and that I don't have any oozy glue going out onto my acetate. It's just impossible to get off, and then your sticky things, your your innards, your sprinkles, whatever you put inside, they don't leak out, or they tend to stick to it if there's glue. And I like to wipe off my acetate, and then I'm just going to lay it down right on top of the little house. And then I'm going to do the same. I'm going to trim off any excess that might have happened because, oh, I don't know, I may have gotten it a little crooked. Yeah, it happens. But I am going to make sure that's good and burnished down. I see a couple little more edges here, and just whack them off. No big deal. And then I'm going to put tape down on this as well. Okay, making sure that tape is good and burnished down, and then I'll lift it. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to lift off the acetate, but I'm just going to lift 2 of the corners because I have this paper piece, and it's not going to be as forgiving when I touch that down to the tape. And then I'll go ahead and pull my tape off from underneath so that I can be sure that this layer is nice and even. And I don't, like on the first layer, I put tape in every single spot, but here I've got it all over, but there's a couple of little nooks and crannies that weren't that big of a deal. All right, now my little vessel's ready for its sprinkles. And this is the fun part. I get most of my sprinkles from a company called Glitter Lambs. And I think they're made for like making tumblers and stuff. I don't know, but I don't care. Put a little snowflakes in there, and then I've got another one in here somewhere that looks like gingerbread. So, going for a whole gingerbread look. Nah, I don't want to put any bright colors in there. I'm trying to stay toned down with kind of neutrals and muted tones here. All right, that's enough filling in there. Don't want to go too crazy with it. And then I'm perfectly okay with gluing the back down to it. So I'm just going to make sure that all my little goodies inside are nice and flat. And then I'm just going to put a thin bead of glue all the way around. And I'll grab the backing piece and just glue it down. I'm going to press really well. Make sure it's good and stuck down. Make sure my sprinkles will move. And then I'm going to set this aside and put something heavy on it just for it to dry, and then we'll continue on our background. So next I'm going to grab these trees, and I'm just going to grab the first layer. Just love this stamp set. It's terrific. I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but I've got the Simon Hurley acrylic block here, and I keep trying to talk him into making a skinny one for stripes and trees and things like that. It's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I know I have faith in Simon. I mean, this thing is not horrible to use at all. You have lots of good control, less chance of dropping it. So I'm just going to lay down a row and give it a good press. You could do it in your Misty tool if you wanted to. And then I'm going to ink it up again because I want to go all the way to the top, but I'm alternating where the trees are. And, trying to make sure they're lined up with the last row. And then one more row. And I'm using a fake plant, which is my favorite kind of Christmassy green. And there we go. We've got our background done. I'm just going to kind of wipe up my mess here a little bit so that I don't get green ink on everything. And I'm going to heat set this because I want to add some more ink to it, but I don't want it to smear. So I want to make sure this is nice and dried into the paper. And I'll go ahead and give it another second while I wipe off this stamp. All right, and we're waiting on our little house to dry here. So I'm going to go ahead and work on a couple of the extras. So I've got the presents here from the penguin set. And I'm just going to stamp that down with some Versafine Clair. And then I'm going to heat emboss. Or not. Nope, I'm not. I'm just going to put the stamp back. And I'm going to color this in with some Lunar paste. So here I've got the Bee Sting Lunar paste and I've got the new gold Lunar paste. I'm going to start with the Bee Sting and I'm just going to paint the little boxes. And I'm just going to use this little fine detailer brush. It's a nylon brush, so it's really good. I love it. And I'll go ahead and paint one of them in the red. And I'm just kind of rubbing the lunar paste in there just to add just a little bit of shine to the whole thing. Okay, so we're done with that present, and I'm only going to do 2 of them because I'm still doing them on this yellow paper or this cream colored paper. So one of the presents is going to stay cream color. Then I'll come in with the gold, and I'm just using some off the lid. I like to use that up first. And just kind of carefully rubbing it in with my little detailer brush. And it doesn't wreck this brush at all, and all you have to do is just clean it with some water. I'll go ahead and get that done, and I will fussy cut that out. And then also, I'll show you how I clean my brush. I just put water down on my paper towel and scrub it until there's no more lunar paste on it. Easy, easy. A lot of times then I won't clean it in between. But we'll fussy cut that thing out, and I've got the little tree already, and super easy to cut. This tree was colored with the fake plant lunar paste. And I had it left over from another project I did, so I thought that I would just save it and use it for this one. And I'm just leaving a really small border around the presents. There we go. Now I just kind of put a little bit of that cookie dough around the edges just to kind of grunge it up, but not too grungy. Make it look more like a piece of a cookie. Then I'm going to go ahead and trim down this to be a 4 by 5 1/4. So I have a little bit of a border around. And you can trim it smaller if you want. And then I'm going to grunge up the edges here with the cookie dough, so it looks like a big old cookie too. I love me some Christmas cookies. All right, that was easy, right? All right, here we go. Got our little house. I'm going to glue it down, and to the side there you can see that I white or cream color heat embossed the sentiment onto a piece of red card. And here I'm just taking a piece of twine and I'm kind of folding it in half, and I'm just going to lay it on there. And then I'm going to glue the whole little house down where I want it. And I want to put it more in the top 2/3 where I'm going to put my sentiment down below. And I'm going to just glue the tree straight down onto the side there. And I will grab some foam tape and I'm going to pop my little presents up. And I'll be using the skinny strip foam tape from scrapbook.com to pop up both my sentiment and my little presents. This stuff I like the skinniness of it because you can fit it into a really lot of small tight spaces. So I'll just take a little piece and trim it there, put a little piece here, and then I'm going to go ahead and complete the assembly here of this card. So first I'll put my presents, and I'm just going to put them kind of like they're, you know, in front of the tree, so they're popped up a little bit. And then I'll go ahead and put on my sentiment. And just kind of eyeball it here. It's easy to get it straight when you have straight lines to follow. So that's really helpful. And then I'm just going to tie my little twine into a bow. Little cookie ornament. Somebody could actually cut that out and hang it from the tree if they wanted to. And then I went ahead and put it on some craft cardstock, and there we go. Well, I hope you like my little card, and thank you so much for stopping in. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. Have a great day.